All right, welcome back to the Survival and Basic Badass Podcast with Kevin and Chuck.
Remember the 5th of November, the Gunpowder, Treason and Plot. I know of no reason why the Gunpowder should ever be forgot. Fawkes and his companions did the scheme contrive to blow the king and Parliament all up alive. 60 barrels lay below to prove old England's overthrow. But by God's providence, him they catch with a dark lantern lighting a match. A stick and a stake. If you won't give me one, I'll take two. The better for me, the worse for you. A rope to hang the Pope, a penworth of cheese to choke him, a pint of beer to wash it down, and a jolly good fire to burn him.
That only sounds right. So Kevin, what the heck? Guy Fawkes Day. What do you say?
Right. Well, I think there's a lot of misunderstanding of who Guy Fawkes actually was. A lot of people talk about him like he's an anarchist, or that he was trying to overthrow the government, which he was, but he was really trying to replace it with the same government, only Catholic.
Yeah.
Guy Fawkes was a religious extremist and a terrorist, and I think he's gotten a lot of good publicity after that. A lot of people don't really know what he was about.
Do you get some good publicity after you're dead, though? Is that really a win? So we're going to dig into some of the history here, how this played out, but we're also going to talk about how you can celebrate the holiday. We might also talk about really where is the British priority here. Are we just so loyal to the king that's how it is? Maybe. Anyway, we're going to dig deep into all of it, but definitely you're going to take away what the hell happened on November 5th, 1605. So we'll get to the bottom of it. So basically I have there was a lot going on. There was a lot of tension in England, and
right, a lot of back and forth with the Protestants and Catholics.
Yeah. And you got to remember now, this is 1605. In 1603 is when Scotland and England came together as one united kingdom. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that's something to be aware of. And although you think of that as a joyous, happy occasion, like, oh, we love each other. Yeah. Some of you might have seen the movie Braveheart.
Yeah, not really the case, is it?
No. And that's the thing. So you have, you probably don't know this, but the Scotland side, they kind of lean towards the Catholic side.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And the English side, the England side, were a little more Protestant at the time. Now there was what was her name? It was Queen Elizabeth and Mary Queen of Scots. Well, Mary Queen of Scots was Catholic and Queen Elizabeth was Protestant.
Right.
So under Queen Elizabeth, there had been like widespread persecution of Catholics. And then her son, King James VI of Scotland, ascended to the throne. And that's when it kind of became even less tolerant of Catholicism. Right. And so there was Robert Catesby. Now he's the guy. Is that, you think, how we say it? Catesby?
Yeah, I think that's how it's pronounced.
And he's the one who actually masterminded the Gunpowder plot. Now, what kind of details do you have on this Gunpowder plot? What did we do here?
Yeah. Well, the thing was, the main problem was getting all that gunpowder. Back in that time period, it wasn't unusual to buy gunpowder. A lot of ships at ports would buy it, for cannons, for self-defense, or for firearms, and they would just carry it on their ship, whether they used it or not. They stored it, and when they would come back into port, they would sell it at a discounted price. So what they didn't want to buy all this gunpowder all at once because it would raise suspicions. So they just went down to the ports week after week and bought, small amounts from ships coming back into port.
All right. They ended up getting 36 barrels.
Barrels. Now they say that 1 barrel of gunpowder is equivalent to a stick of dynamite. Now,
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever set off a stick of dynamite, but it's a lot stronger than you think it is. It's a lot more than you would think a stick of dynamite would do. So
Now, yeah.
it was a good amount. I don't know if it would blow up all of Parliament. It's a
Well,
big thing, you know?
I live in the South, and turns out some of my neighbors like to play with dynamite. I don't know. That's a thing that I've heard. Maybe
Hmm.
it was a movie, I don't know. And yeah, dynamite, you can do some damage. Now, I think there would be like, I don't know if you guys have seen British Parliament, but it's a big building. Um, I like to think that if you think of what's that new show? Well, not that new. With oh man, the guy from Young Guns, the Kiefer Sutherland,
Oh,
and
24?
what's the other one he had with the end of the world and he's kind of a wuss, where
Oh.
he becomes he's a he's the like Secretary of Agriculture or something and
Oh,
becomes the
yeah.
president.
Designated survivor.
Designated survivor, that's the one.
Right.
So when you think of that, they had that plot to blow up the Capitol and they were all underneath. I think if you blew up underneath the main chamber, like where
Hmm.
everybody's meeting, I think
Right.
you could do that with 36 barrels of gunpowder.
Hmm.
I don't think you could take out that whole building because this building's like the Pentagon. It's
Right.
just like
It's
giant.
massive. Yeah.
It's not shaped quite like the Pentagon, but it's giant, like
Hmm.
that. You're not just, taking it all down. But I think you could take down the chamber and do that. So they laid out they had these all set, the day before, and they were ready to take action. They were there. Now, how did it so basically they're tired of of the Protestant rule. And it's funny because I like that the Catholics are like, we're tired of your intolerance. That
Right.
just
Right.
sounds funny to me because you probably don't know this, but the Catholics in England were actually known for a little bit of intolerance throughout the years. There was
Yeah.
a little scudge,
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah. Now the main problem leading up to this though was that it was going back and forth. The rulers of England were going back and forth between Protestant and Catholic, and they were very much opposed to each other. So Protestant would get into power and they'd kill off all the Catholics, and then a Catholic would get into power and they'd kill off all the Protestants. Like, most people were just trying to live their lives, and oh, are we Catholic today? What's the deal today? But some people were a lot of these people were very adamant that their religion was the right religion and everybody else was going to hell.
Absolutely. So now the way they got caught was that one of the conspirators, which it's always one of loose lips sink ships, that
Yeah, there's
kind of
always
thing.
some asshole that lets the cat out of the bag.
Right. One of the conspirators sent an anonymous letter to his brother-in-law saying, "Hey, you might not want to attend Parliament tomorrow because the whole building might blow up."
Right.
Like that, that kind of gives it away.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, buddy, like it's one thing if like you poison his food so he's home on the crapper with diarrhea,
Right.
but it's another to be like, hey, we're gonna blow up the building, so don't go to work. But anonymous, so don't worry about it. Like it
Yeah.
could be anything. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Now there's a lot of speculation on who actually sent that note.
uh-huh.
But they're not really sure. They don't know. There's a lot of guesses, Um, his name is Lord Montague,
Okay.
which that was the member of Parliament that got the note. Some people said that he actually wrote the note himself.
What?
Some people say that the guy, the head of security, was the one that wrote the note to him, and then had him bring it to him. there's a lot of speculation. Nobody really knows who wrote the note and where it came from, but it doesn't stop people from guessing.
Right, exactly.
So he gets the
So,
note
yeah.
saying that they're going to blow up Parliament, and he immediately just goes to the head of security for the building, and they start
Yeah.
searching the building. They go over the whole place, and they don't find anything. And then somebody had mentioned about some wood piles where it's stored underneath the building out back.
Okay.
So they go down there and they find some guy down there who's a night watchman. Except he was wearing like riding clothes, like a jacket and a hat, like he was just about to jump on a horse, which seemed a little suspicious to him. So they start looking into it, and yeah, it turns out he was getting ready to set off all this gunpowder. Now the reason he didn't set it off was because he was waiting for Parliament to be in there. There's no reason to blowing up the whole damn building if nobody was in it. No, so it was about midnight, a little after midnight, when they found him.
Okay. And I believe I read that he was lurking suspiciously.
Yeah, he was that's how you know. Suspicious lurker.
Suspicious lurker. Now they had actually like postponed. Parliament was getting ready to meet. They had issues with the plague, and they just didn't want to get all these people together. So this was a big thing building up to Parliament opening. And like I said, they got tipped off. They got the letter. This guy's lurking suspiciously. Turns out this guy ended up being Guy Fawkes. Is that correct?
That's right. That's right. I think he gave his name as Jack Johnson.
Practically the same thing.
He actually had a bunch of aliases when you look into him. He went by a lot of different names, but
okay.
First that's the name he gave. And he made up some names for his parents and where he was from. So the king met him actually.
Okay.
And talked to him, and he was actually impressed by they described him as a man of action, capable of intelligent argument as well as physical endurance. Now, later on, after
I would
his
like
death,
that to be on my tombstone. I'm just mentioning.
Later on, after his death, they came up with all these what do they call them? Penny dreadfuls. Like little cheap novels.
Yeah.
And they made him into kind of an action hero. Now he was a soldier.
Yeah.
And he was a serious dude. But they got to work on torturing him. And the first day they did a lot of work on him, and nothing. The next day they tied him up to the rack, and they started
the whole
stretching
drawn
him.
and quartered thing. Right. People don't really go for that.
Yeah, so that's not fun. Well, you're just getting a little stretched out, but eventually your shoulders dislocate from their socket, and your legs dislocate from their hips, and your bones, like nothing's attached properly anymore.
That's
they took him.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, they took him up to hang him. They put the noose around him, but they weren't going to hang him to kill him. They were just going to let him dangle for a while. Instead of going with that, he just jumped off the gallows with the noose around his neck, and it snapped his neck, and he was done.
Because he figured, but he did give up several, at least, of his co-conspirators at that point.
Right. After the second day of torture.
Yeah.
They said they were very impressed, though, that he managed to go that long, because they really fucked him up for a long time before he started talking.
Now he was an impressive guy, and he held out. Now Robert Catesby did plan this whole ordeal, which you get something for planning. I like to think, it's kind of like Catesby's more your Thomas Jefferson type kind of thing. Whereas I feel like Guy Fawkes is kind of more your Sam Adams. You're kind of bolstery, fuck it, let's take this shit down kind of thing. He definitely came across as a man of action. And, hey, now turns out blowing up your government, maybe not the way to go. But, I feel like Scotland had tried the whole resistance thing for quite a while. These people were kind of at the breaking point, we would say.
Right.
the frustration had been building. But it's not like America. Like America, we're kind of full of piss and vinegar, and we want to fight about everything. Now, America may be getting a little bit softer in its old age, but I know that England, they were kind of know your place kind of thing. But much as
Right.
I say that, they're kind of know your place now, but really maybe in 1600, 100 years before the revolution, that whole Scotland thing, they brought in a bunch of wildcats. We'll say that
Yeah.
when they adopted Scotland, it kind of, they kind of opened the door to trouble, is what I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it might sound racist, but Scotland is kind of known for being full of a bunch of crazy assholes.
Yeah.
I like that about them, honestly, but
No, Kevin, you're
no
Scottish.
offense
Is
to the
that not
Scots.
correct?
Yeah,
You're actually
exactly.
Scottish. So I believe you're Heritage McAllister, something,
Yeah, does
So
that make it all right? Like I can talk about it because if I went to Scotland though, they would never consider me to be Scottish.
a Scottish.
That's
No,
not the
maybe
same
if
thing. Just because I was related to somebody that once came from Scotland, I don't think that counts.
maybe if you embrace the family kill. That's
Yeah,
I
that's it.
I,
All
I
right.
seem to I seem to remember going to some weddings with people in kilts. I don't know, but anyway, that from family members of yours. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that said, but so now here's the thing. So they were like, "Oh, let's celebrate Guy Fawkes Day," and you're like, "Well, I don't understand. Are we celebrating like we celebrate in America? We celebrate Independence Day,
Right.
and we're all about kicking ass and hey, we screwed the British and screw
Right.
them."
And we blow
Now,
stuff up and light things on fire.
and we light things on fire. Now, this is they celebrate Guy Fawkes Day, and it came from Parliament, the
Right.
decision to celebrate this day. November 5th is a day of thanksgiving and celebration that the bombing attempt was thwarted today.
Right.
And so they celebrate with fireworks and bonfires. I guess they celebrate in the United Kingdom, Canada, South Africa, pretty much anybody loyal to the crown, right? Now,
Right.
so first of all, that's concerning to me that you're like, hey, remember that time they all tried to kill us? Why are you celebrating that? I guess they celebrate, hey, it didn't happen. Hey, we fought off,
Right.
it's like remember the Alamo, right?
Yeah. Well, it's more like you guys are so lucky that your king didn't get killed. Like, good
oh, thank
news,
God.
everybody. You still have a king.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah, it
like
was kind of
that's weird
a
because
dick move where he's like, the king declares that everybody can have a party that he's still alive,
yeah,
Like, fully yourself, asshole, But
exactly. So, how are we going to celebrate Guy Fawkes Day? Well, no. How are we supposed to celebrate Guy Fawkes Day as a loyal subject to the crown
yeah,
of the
so
crown?
we have the big bonfires, right? That's number one. But that's not all.
Okay.
You gotta burn people. Not real
Ooh.
people,
Oh,
you know,
oh, oh.
effigies of people. So that they'll get
So
a Guy Fawkes, and throw him in the bonfire. A common one was the Pope, burning the Pope.
I like that. That's catchy.
Yeah, and a lot of other people. They throw a lot of other, effigies of people in those bonfires. I guess it's kind of weird for me to have it. To me, it's kind of weird to have a party where you just burn people. But I mean, whatever. I mean,
We
England was
throw
doing
in the
that a
fire.
long time before
Yeah.
the Christians showed up. That was the thing with the Wicker Man, and they put
Right.
criminals up in the Wicker Man and animal sacrifices. It's
We tried
not a
to
brand new thing.
we tried to make it a thing over here in America with the witches and everything, but it never really
Hmm.
caught on. Like,
Didn't catch on. No.
it didn't, that's horrible. You're a horrible person, Kevin, just so you know.
But
Um,
as Americans though that aren't loyal subjects to the king,
yeah.
we did fight a whole war about it.
we did separate. We ended ties,
Right.
Um, so all right. So basically you make like little guys. They call them guys, but little guys depicting Guy Fawkes, and you make them out of straw and cloth. And I think you have the kids do it. Now, what they do is, I guess, I don't know that this is going on now. I don't live in England. You guys will have to report. I know we have some of you fancy British guys in the audience out there that can happily let us know and correct us on our etiquette. But, we're American. What can I tell you? We don't have any manners, right?
Yeah.
So basically, they put together a big guy, and they take him around town. They drag him through the streets. I don't know if you tie a little rope to him and you pull him like you're pulling a puppy, and you ask for a penny for the guy. And this way, you actually raise money to go buy fireworks. I don't even
Nice.
know that they have fireworks in England. Drag it around, and you say, hey, can I have the guy? You get up your fireworks, and you take your money, you go buy the fireworks, you build up the big bonfire. You have the bonfire. Now, I guess food is a big thing when it comes to Guy Fawkes Day. So they say firework inspired food. I don't
Okay.
know what that means, but I was told there's something about sausage.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling you what. If you've ever tried my wife's chili, you know what fireworks inspired food was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So
So yeah, go ahead.
so it's sausages and what else
Okay.
were you saying?
So they said hot dogs, but you do like really spicy, meaty sausages topped with fried onions. Something about frying the onions and the sizzling. You're supposed to be thinking of like Guy Fawkes burning.
Okay.
And ketchup and hot mustard is the traditional, and they usually just kind of split them and put them out. And so hot dogs, bar, and the children definitely need to make a big straw guy. Now, if you don't have any children, I figure you get one. Now, originally, it kind of a Guy Fawkes face on this guy, and that's kind of
Mm-hmm.
where that mask comes in. We'll talk about that in a minute. But as time went on, they say they tried to make it just a faceless man. I want to say they just got lazy.
Yeah.
Um, they were like, oh, I don't want to bother with the face. We'll just throw some burning guy in there and call it good. Fireworks crafts. I like this. In the description I read now, they have faux bonfires. So, the British, we know they're a little bit less than. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, America, you have a giant, 20 pallets and you're burning all that shit. In England, well, one, they all live on top of each other, so it's kind of awkward. But you're
Right.
like, oh, let's have a pretend fire. And then we'll have pretend fireworks. We'll draw some colorful things on the wall.
You're making me nauseous.
I say no, no. Um, that's the thing. No pretend fireworks here. We're gonna have a real fire. We're gonna have real real bonfire. We're gonna embrace it. Now, you're saying, well, Chuck, right now it's actually not the 5th of November. So why are you telling me about this? You're a week early. Well, that's okay. Everyone take a breath. I wanted you to have time to secure your gunpowder and your fireworks to
Right.
embrace the holiday.
Right. Right. Now, in the United States, though, we don't celebrate the saving of the king.
No?
We celebrate Guy Fawkes Day in the United States is kind of a symbol of anarchy, a symbol of
Yeah.
anti-government oppression, right? Now, a lot of people have adopted the Guy Fawkes mask and the Guy
Yes.
Fawkes identity and positioned him as an anarchist and kind of redefined Guy Fawkes since 16 changed a little bit, especially in the United States, how they view him.
Yeah. America is definitely taking an approach to supporting the king and that that kind of thing. We're little, like I said, I like to think a little bit more piss and vinegar, but maybe, I don't know. I'm wrong. I know when I walk on the American college campus, I'm not tired by, I like to go back to the punk rock movement, and I hate to say it, the British, Sid Vicious, um,
Johnny Rotten.
the
Yeah.
Johnny Rotten, Sex
They had a good
Pistols,
gang of,
the whole.
yeah.
You're like, well, Chuck, they were British. That's where it came from. Well, okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Yep.
Or Dropkick Murphy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're kind of the American take on British angst. So, all right. So anyway, and I digress. We move on here. So Anonymous. Now they kind of cause a little disruption in the world. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people refer to them as anarchists. I don't know if that would be an accurate definition, but they're definitely anti-government corruption, which I think is, I think that's a good, I think that
A good
I
place to
support
be.
that sort of behavior. Acting up a little bit. I think it's always important that you have people acting up, and the government doesn't like it. They want to get them all in prison, and they've got a couple of them. But Anonymous is still out there fucking stuff up. They were, we're really bombing the shit out of Russia in the early days of the Ukraine war. Messing with their internet, and they're releasing a lot of private data very fast. That was a little bit embarrassing to Russia. Russians seem to be really good at fucking with other people, but they're not really good at protecting their own shit, which seemed funny to me.
They're not good, and they're not good at like taking it with grace. Sometimes they get they turn into maybe whiny bitches. I'm just saying. Yeah. That's how it is in the world. Yeah, no, that's the thing. Like Anonymous, I think the reason it worked and it lasted so much is it's kind of endless, right? You kill one guy, you cut the head off the snake and another one pops up, right?
Right.
That's the beauty of Anonymous, is it's not just one guy. Now there may be, I mean, we don't really know. There may be one guy that's kind of like spearheaded it from the beginning and is still kind of running things. But that's the beauty of it. When it kind of is popping up anywhere, you don't really know. And even if they do catch that guy and kind of put it down, another guy's going to pop up. It's not that complicated.
Right. It's not designated on one person or one
going.
Right. Right.
And when you don't know what enemy you're dealing with, it makes it to catch. But go on.
Yeah. Now another big takeoff of Guy Fawkes was the movie V for Vendetta, which is based on a British comic book. That was honestly one of my favorite movies. Real good movie.
It's an excellent movie. And it did kind of bring it back to, it was funny because I looked at, and I was going to watch it to get ready here, for this episode. And I have it on DVD, but who the hell knows how to watch DVDs anymore? So I was like, well, what do I do with this? And I'm holding the disc, and I didn't know what happened. But, that's how that goes. But, and it was like $10 or maybe even 20 on Amazon or something. And I'm like, I don't want to really spend money, and I'm cheap, and, but that movie is just awesome. Because one, Natalie Portman, a very attractive young lady, and that it was just well done. That movie was exceptional. It had the crypticness of it. It had the government oppression. It kind of had where we're kind of heading as a society. It's not even America going into government control. It's not just Britain going into government control. It's kind of the world with government control.
Yeah,
the
and
noose is getting tighter.
I thought that movie was interesting because there was a 1970s movie based on the book 1984.
Yes.
And the main character of that movie ended up being the president of England in the movie V for Vendetta. It was the same guy in both of them. So there's kind of a parallel drawn there.
Yeah, a little throwback, you know.
Hmm.
And that's the thing. So and they talked about how they what I liked is the movie was well done where the actual oppression and how it got there, they just used real vagaries. You know, they
Hmm.
talked about a disease and wars, but it was all like really vague of how it happened. That wasn't the focus. The
Right.
focus was really standing up to government and intolerance. You know, it's funny, there was that movie The Dictator, right? With Borat or whatever or
Yeah,
whoever
yeah.
it was. And
Sasha Baron Cohen.
right. And, you know, he talks about he comes to America and he's like, yeah, you should consider being a dictator because then you could kind of control what people do and tell them, you know, what to think. And you could control education and you could make them basically give you half their money. And everyone in America is like, yeah, we already have that, you know?
We
And
already
he's
got
like, wait
that
a minute,
covered.
we've kind of got we already got that government already takes half our money and maybe even more, you know, and they already tell us how to think and control the education. And he's like, well, you could control the media. And you're like, oh wait, we already have that too, you know. And
Yeah.
that's the thing is we're kind of getting into that oppressive world, right? Where it's very, you know, very controlling and trying to tell you what to do. So celebrating something like Guy Fawkes Day and going out and having a bonfire and celebrating a little treason and plot and gunpowder. I mean,
Right.
really having a holiday to celebrate gunpowder, that sounds like a holiday I can get behind.
Yeah, it's been too long that we haven't had a gunpowder holiday, you know?
And, you know, America celebrating treason, I feel like that's a thing.
Yeah.
Like, you guys, I mean, sometimes people celebrate it on July 4th
Hmm.
in America,
Right.
but why not have 2 days to celebrate fireworks, treason, plot? I mean, that's what America's all about. It's like this holiday is like in England, it's stamping down oppression or, you know, sorry, no, it's celebrating oppression
Right.
while you're stamping down intolerance and whatever or something.
Hmm.
I'm botching that whole thing up.
Right.
You know what I
Oh,
mean? It's
yeah.
stamping down, you know,
Rebelliousness. You know,
rebelliousness,
yeah,
anarchy. That's the word I'm
anarchy.
looking for. Anarchy. And yet in America, we could be celebrating Guy Fawkes Day as a way to celebrate anarchy and
Yeah.
embrace it. And I
Yeah.
gotta say, that's really what we do on the 4th of July, isn't it? I mean,
Right. Right.
celebrating
Celebrating treason
anarchy.
and blowing stuff up. I fully support that. Now, I say I'm a libertarian, but I feel like deep down in my heart, I'm more of an anarchist than anything.
Kevin, I look at you wearing your Guy Fawkes shirt, and I can't help but think you are a little bit more of an anarchist. It's funny because my wife is was the big punk rock girl from, you know, the 80s and 80s and 90s and just kind of grew up with that whole anarchy, you know, going to the, you know, Black Flag and freaking, you know, Sex Pistols and the whole, you know, the
Yeah,
Cure. I don't know who the hell listened to the Cure, but somehow she was. I don't understand it. But, you know, you got to embrace that shit, right?
that's right, man. So, so yeah, so we got to celebrate a little bit of anarchy this week coming up. We're gonna
That's
burn
what I
some
would say.
stuff. We're gonna get some effigies and burn them. So who would you in your mind throw on that
Oh,
fire?
who could we? This just sounds like danger, right?
Yeah, this is gonna get
You're
us in
courting
trouble.
danger.
So I'm thinking Richard Nixon mask for one.
Oh,
Get
I
going
like
with
that.
that. Um,
Tricky Dick.
start there. Start with the obvious ones, and then we can throw some more on there. I would say throw some Nancy Pelosi on there, but I think somebody just went into her house and smashed her husband up with a claw hammer.
What? I did
Did you hear
not see
about that? It
that.
happened
No, I
yesterday.
did not. Oh,
Yeah,
big
somebody broke into
news.
her house and she wasn't there. Her husband was there, old 80-year-old man, and they just beat the shit out of him with a claw hammer.
Wow, that's fucked up.
And at first I thought it was like a Trump supporter type thing, but now
Yeah,
something's coming out that he was like a avid nudist. So,
practically the same thing.
so
I
now
mean,
I really don't know what the hell is going on. We'll have more. There'll be more information coming out over the next few days, but it's a little bit hazy right now what actually happened there.
wow, that's yeah. No, we don't support going in and attacking people. That's not really a thing. Standing up for freedom and not backing down is more my thing. I don't know if you guys have seen, but if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, that don't give them an inch is more the approach that we take. I'm not out for going in and destroying things that are whatever. Now, when the government becomes so corrupt, it comes to a time when that kind of thing might be appropriate. I don't know if you just read the Declaration of Independence, you'll understand where I'm coming from on that.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see what the action is appropriate. But I would say right now, we're at the point where it's don't back down.
Right.
Don't give up. Stand your ground is what I would say. Going out and messing with people who are ignorant fools is not going to gain anything. It just makes you kind of a jackass. I would say stand your ground. You'll have plenty of fight come to you. You don't have to bring the fight to them at this point. But when it's time to bring them the fight, you might want to grab a history book on the American Revolution. Um,
Mm-hmm.
they did get to a little the whole tar and feather thing. I know my wife can't watch John Adams without getting worked up. She's like, that's horrible. We can't, whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, you do what you gotta. So
Yeah.
there
Sometimes
comes
you
a
gotta cover a
time.
motherfucker with hot boiling tar and put feathers
Exactly.
on him because that's funny.
Exactly. The feathers just up your game. That's just a thing. So in America, we have our own history. But right now, I would say that we're at the point of stand your ground. Don't give them an inch. When you watch these stupid ass videos on YouTube of cops trying to be dicks and assert their authority of, well, I have the right to search you for no reason because I have probable cause because I don't like you.
Right.
Or why is there a white guy in this neighborhood? You don't have any business here unless you're a drug dealer.
Right.
Yeah, no, I might be friends with a black person. No, I don't think that's right. No,
That's
nope,
preposterous.
nope.
Yep.
That's the kind of world that's just getting ridiculous. Stand your ground. I don't think you need to worry about, be polite, but then, beat somebody up, whatever it takes, right?
Yeah. That's right.
Hey, teach their own. So that's what I would say. So bottom line, you need to go buy some hot dogs. You need to go buy some fireworks. You need to go buy some gunpowder. You need to go buy a lot more bullets.
Mm-hmm.
I would say bullets. You don't need to use the bullets up on the 5th of November.
Right.
I would
You can
just say
you
in
can shoot
honor
a
of
couple
Guy
off.
Fawkes Day. Right, sure. In honor of Guy Fawkes Day, you might want to up the arsenal a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. I mean, that's an option you might be into, right? All right. So get that set up. Now, if you're really cool, you might consider tannerite, maybe 2 pounds of tannerite.
Mm-hmm.
Put that in the in the heart of the Guy Fawkes effigy, and maybe
Right.
you blow the fucker up, right? I mean, hey, that's kind of a cool way to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just giving you options on how you can celebrate Guy Fawkes Day. Like I said, you might want to get the children involved. They may want to make their, government tolerant dolls and set those up and get ready to throw those in the fire. And, like I said, you get to choose who you make that doll look like. This is America. We do what we want, right?
King George III? I don't know. Aaron Burr?
Whatever,
Anybody.
right?
Anybody
Embrace
you
it.
want.
You do you. I'm not one to stop you.
Mhm.
Maybe you make a Sid Vicious doll and throw it in there. I don't know. To each their own, right? The spiky hair, it just seems fun.
Yeah, it does seem fun.
It does seem fun. So, you have the little leather jacket. You're ready to go. The chain necklace with the padlock.
Right, with the padlock. Yep. No,
But-
it's yeah. Anybody you want. That sounds like fun. So I'm gonna make one up this weekend and get something together to throw on the bonfire. Let us know who you burn. I'd love to hear about it. There's
Yeah.
definitely plenty of people to pick from. Plenty of people that screwed up the country as much as humanly possible for one
Yeah,
person.
exactly. Now, I would also add to the gunpowder, the extra ammo, the fireworks, hot dogs, and I would say beer, or whiskey, whichever way you want to go. That's to each their own. It's America. Just definitely keep it American, like whiskey or something, or
Yeah. Well, they got
maybe
in the
Sam
poem.
Adams
Yeah,
celebrate.
in the poem they recommend cheese and beer.
Cheese and
So,
beer
yep.
and
Who's going to argue with
salami.
that?
Right? Exactly, America.
Yeah. Sam Adams knows all about it.
But I would say the bigger the fire, the better. And I got you a little time. We had your back on this, had this a little bit early so you guys can get ready to embrace it. You want to stay on top of what we're doing and what you need to be paying attention to. You may want to subscribe to the YouTube channel. You may want to subscribe to the podcast, right? You may want to you can find it's the Survival and Basic Badass podcast. We're on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, anywhere you pretty much listen to a podcast, we're there. You catch these episodes and previous episodes. Definitely helps us out when you watch and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We also appreciate you being here and checking out with us. We do have a Facebook group, Prepping Badass. You can also find a Facebook page, whatever. We're kind of everywhere. I try and be on TikTok, but I haven't really worked that out yet. It's smarter than me. I don't know. You have questions, concerns, show ideas, email us at preppingbadass@gmail.com. Otherwise, I would say stay safe, and we will talk to you guys next week is what I got.